You're listening to the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. I'm Allison Boyle, aka She Dreams of Alpine, and this is the show that's dedicated to all the adventurous spirits out there who have either been transformed by the outdoors or are interested in what it looks like to step into a new, adventurous, and courageous kind of identity in their life. It doesn't matter what your background is in the outdoors, what age you're starting at, or where you grew up. If you're curious about the outdoors and using adventure as a way to reinvent yourself, you're in the right place. I'll be sharing all kinds of personal adventure stories, lessons I've learned from the mountains, teaching what I know about the outdoors and leadership, and interviewing some amazing adventurous women all along the way. I've been coaching women on becoming safe, confident, and self-sufficient backpackers and leaders of their own adventurous lives since 2018, and I know exactly what big fears and self-doubts can pop up along the way. I have so much to share with you, so let's dive in. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. Now, today's episode is extra special because our flagship program for women to learn how to become safe, confident, and self-sufficient backpackers, the Backpacking Badass program, is officially open for our New Year's open enrollment. This is our first enrollment of 2026. We're bringing in a fresh cohort. And for today's episode, I'm bringing in one of my incredible clients onto the show to show you what becomes possible when you stop waiting around for the right time and finally decide to go all in on yourself. And Sarah's story is really powerful, and it's such a great example of what's possible for you. So today, I want you to meet my client, Sarah. Sarah joined the Backpacking Badass program during our sort of New Year cohort. She actually joined at the end of 2023, but she got started in the new year with us. So right as she was stepping into what she now kind of looks back on, her very own adventure era. And here's what makes her story so powerful. Now, Sarah didn't grow up loving the outdoors, right? And in fact, she actually tells a story on the podcast that she despised it and she didn't like being dirty and she didn't enjoy hiking and camping. And for decades, she carried the belief that adventure was something that other people did. It wasn't really for her and not something that she was interested in. But then life kind of cracked her wide open. So after a major upheaval, like personal upheaval, Sarah found herself alone during the pandemic and for the first time turning to nature as something that helped her heal. So what started as for her solo camping weekends with her dog eventually became long walks and deep reflection and eventually a quiet but powerful question. I wonder if adventure could be part of my life now. So when Sarah joined us inside of the Backpacking Badass program, she actually had zero backpacking experience, but she did actually have a very big dream. One day she wanted to through hike the Pacific Crest Trail. She mentioned wanting to do this when her daughter graduated. But instead of waiting 9 years to be ready for that moment, she decided to start becoming that woman now. And since joining the program, Sarah has gone from being like a total beginner in backpacking to leading her very first backpacking trip just 4 months after joining, planning and completing multiple backpacking trips across Southern California. She actually has been building a thriving adventure community of women that she met through the Backpacking Badass program. And she has been stepping into a brand new identity as a capable, confident backpacker who trusts herself on the trail and in her life. And the ripple effects of all of that did not stop there. This confidence has carried her through in multiple years. So 2024, she stepped into her adventure era. 2025, she ran a marathon and started running more often. Something she once believed that wasn't, something that she could do, was out of her reach. And in this episode, we talk about all of the things. We talk about how nature became Sarah's lifeline during one of her hardest seasons. We talk about why building skills changed her identity and transformed her adventures, and how she found adventure friends as an adult, and like why it's not as hard as you think, kind of tips around that, how she did it, and what happens when you stop waiting for confidence and you actually start building it for yourself. And because this episode is airing during our New Year's open enrollment, I also want to make sure that you know that enrollment for the Backpacking Badass program is officially open right now until Friday, January 23rd. So, this is your official invitation to also step into your adventure era in 2026, but being fully supported with real coaching and real skills and a community of women like Sarah walking alongside you. And you can join right now by going to shedreamsofalpine.com/enroll to get all of the details and learn even more about this program and what's included when you join us in our New Year's open enrollment. So if 2026 is the year that you want to stop dreaming about adventure and you actually want to start living it and having real experiences and creating real adventure in your life, if you want to feel strong and capable and self-sufficient outdoors, you want to know you always have your own back. If you want expert guidance through all of this, you want a clear plan, you want a step-by-step system to follow so that you can actually learn what you need to know to be safe and confident outdoors, and you want to join a community of over 2,000 of women who genuinely get it, then this is your moment. And make sure that you go check everything out at shedreamsofalpine.com/enroll to get all of the details, to sign up, to join us in your adventure era. All right, now let's dive in to Sarah's story. I know you're going to love this one. All right. Welcome, welcome, Sarah. I'm so excited to have you here on the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, this is a dream come true to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. I've been thinking about having you on this for a long time. And just for a little bit of background, so you joined our Backpacking Badass program. So Sarah's one of our clients inside of that program, but she joined around the end of 2023 and kind of like going into the beginning of 2024. And when we met Sarah, we kind of learned that this was like her beginning of stepping into her very own adventure era. And Sarah, I remember you very specifically because you showed up so much when we kind of like kickstarted things in January. There's like a lot of like New Year energy with all the clients and everybody. And that particular year, we had done extra coaching calls, I think, for like January cohort. And I remember you showing up to, pretty much, I think almost every single coaching call that we had, like when we first kickstarted the program in our New Year's enrollment. And you were always asking questions, you were always fired up, and like you were super involved in the Backpacking Badass student community. So I find that really aspirational, and that like it's like such a good example of like going after what you want in like a really fierce way. So let's like rewind a little bit. I think one thing that's really interesting about your story, and I think people will find really interesting, is that you weren't always adventurously inclined. When you actually graduated our program, so we do a little graduation when clients do their first backpacking trip and they go through the program. Sarah wrote us, that she actually despised the outdoors when she was a kid. So maybe you can give us a little bit of background about like you as a kid and the outdoors and, like the despise around it.
Oh my gosh. I love that you quoted me on that because yes, I it's so true. I as a kid growing up, I did despise the outdoors. I just wasn't a fan of being dirty, sweaty. I felt like hiking was really boring.
Yeah.
Camping with my family wasn't like my thing. It wasn't fun.
Yes.
But my parents did push it on me and my brother throughout
Yeah.
our lives. So they would take us on fishing trips, which fishing I still am not into to this day, but they took
Yeah.
us on fishing trips to the lake, on hikes, camping.
This
And
is
one,
in California, correct? Right? You
yes,
grew up
I
in California.
I did. Yeah. I grew up in Orange County, and so their favorite place was the Sierras,
Yes.
and they would also drive us up to Utah to do a lot of hiking where my mom was from.
Oh,
So
love that.
yeah, there's one memorable trip that just about, no, it really did ruin the outdoors really for like
Okay.
about 27 years for me. I
Oh
didn't
my
really
gosh.
adventure outdoors because of probably this one experience.
I love
So
this.
they packed us in a minivan, drove us deep into the Sierras, where we set up a temporary home on a small island in
Yes.
the like middle of a lake. And if people in California will recognize the name. It's South Lake in Bishop.
Okay, yes.
And we didn't even have access to our own boat. So a friend like dropped us in this island.
This is so
And
good.
there's like, I mean, no running water, like no way to shower, clean myself. Like, I mean, now I think I would have a little bit more knowledge of how to clean myself. But
Yes.
as a kid, I was like, as a 13-year-old, getting in the lake with shampoo and conditioner. I am so sorry to the environment. Because I was just trying to like get clean and it was torture not having a schedule or routine and just being like stuck with my parents and my brother. So that
Yeah.
was very traumatizing. And
I
because,
feel
yeah.
like I can actually totally relate to this. Like, I mean, I didn't live in California, but I also grew up not outdoorsy at all. And I am pretty sure I would have felt the same way. I have these like vivid memories of, being in PE class and being told to like run the mile. And I was like,
Mm,
absolutely not.
yeah.
That's a no. Like, I just,
Yeah.
anything like cardio or like having to like move my body, like, I was just
Yeah.
not into it. So it's just such a like, when you see like that contrast, you're just like, wow, I made a really big 180 from childhood into
Oh, yeah.
adulthood. So,
Totally.
what do you think were some of the beliefs that like led you to kind of like changing
Yeah.
yourself and being more curious about the outdoors and getting into hiking and camping from this kind of like childhood experience
Yeah.
and to the moment that kind of led you to us in, 2023?
Yeah. Well, it was definitely quite a shift, and a
Yeah.
complete evolution. And I would say to really answer your question, I would want to share some backstory of just a time in my life where nature sort of became like
Mm,
oxygen for me
yes.
instead of something I despised. So in the summer of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, my husband and partner at the time, we'd been married 19 years, he told me that he wanted a divorce. And so our daughters were just 9 and 7 at the time. And we had recently, only about 6 months before then, relocated our whole family from California to Illinois
Yeah,
for
that's a
his
big change.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like a move for his job. And now he's suddenly telling me he wants a divorce.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was just like the lowest I've ever
Right.
been. I was heavily self-medicating with food, cigarettes, alcohol,
Yeah.
pills. And so within weeks of this news, like my world just turned upside down and I was about to hit the darkest season of my life. And
Right.
so I decided, I kind of had like a rock bottom moment and decided
Yeah.
to get help. So I checked myself into a 30-day inpatient treatment program in the
Yeah.
middle of a worsening pandemic out of
Right. I
state.
was like, not to mention, like 2020 was just such a heavy year in general, like adding on top of everything.
Yeah, I had to like put my girls on a plane, send them to California. I
Yeah.
went to another state and got help. It was a really hard time. And then when I got back, uh, my ex and I started sharing custody of my girls. So suddenly I'm, over 2,000 miles away from my support system.
Yeah.
And now I'm without my daughters on the weekends,
Yeah.
alone in this city that we had just recently relocated to when no
Yeah.
one is hanging out with each other anyways. So
Right.
I did the only thing that made sense to me at the time. So
Yeah.
I packed up my camping gear, which I did have camping gear, and my golden retriever and retreated to campsites every weekend that summer. And I was very intentional. I created a Spotify playlist of all female artists. I read like really healing books,
Yeah.
stared into a lot of campfires, walked my
Yeah.
dog, and just started to find comfort and
Right.
safety in nature and wildlife in particular. Like I felt like animals were like speaking to me at
Okay.
times.
Tell me more about that. Like, what do you mean?
Oh my gosh. I I think just being that alone during a pandemic, like now going camping with my dog in these like remote
Right.
campsites in
You were just like really
Michigan,
in tune.
Wisconsin. It's like there's no one else around. And so it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I was in tune and I was seeing, I don't know, it was like all of a sudden I paid attention to
Right.
animals and then I thought, wait, what if they're like speaking to me and bringing me messages? And so I started keeping track of like in one day, one skunk and three deer
Oh, I
and
love that.
five quail. Like it was always like just and in
Yeah.
one day, I just it would be so many different forms of wildlife in some of these places that I was camping. And so
Yeah.
then I started like looking up the spiritual because Native Americans are really into this. So there's a lot of stuff online where they found like spiritual meaning in each like
Yeah.
animal. So I just
I
started
love
kind
that.
of yeah, writing me little messages that they were sending me and it was always very on point and comforting.
That's beautiful. I actually like this reminds me of a moment on my very first backpacking trip ever, the one that I did in Yosemite. I remember sitting on a log with my friend that had invited me on this trip, and we were taking a breath because I literally, a girl, I was dying, and I was like, I need to breathe. I need to sit here and catch my breath because it was like the hardest thing I'd ever done. And I remember he told me we saw these we saw these birds flying around, and I was like, "Oh, these birds are really cool." And he was like, "Oh yeah, you." And then one of them, and there were these bright bluebirds, and one of them came and flew and sat like right on top of my friend's backpack, and he started crying. And I was just like, whoa, this is out of nowhere. Like, what's happening? And he told me, he's like, my grandpa's favorite bird was this bluebird. And the bird just like hung out with us for like a little while. And we were both just like, whoa, nature is like insane. Like, this is so great.
Oh my
Like, I don't know.
gosh.
That's
I
a
love it.
moment I don't talk about too much because it's like I sometimes, gets it's like a minor detail, but I totally know
Oh my
what you
gosh.
mean.
Yeah, and those experiences for me like just kept growing. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I'll get back to that too, more wildlife. But yeah, I think I totally believe in that. And that's the more you pay attention to that, those messages are there for
Yes.
us to
Yeah.
experience. So, okay, so during this season, I'm like camping within my free time. And then one of the books that just most impacted me, really cracked me wide open during this time was reading Cheryl Strayed's powerful
Oh, yes.
memoir,
Of
Wild,
course.
which of course
She's such a
many
beautiful writer. It's such a good
oh
book.
my gosh.
Yeah.
It is my all like one of my all-time favorites. And so what really spoke to me about Cheryl's story was in her rock bottom moment without any background in backpacking or hiking, which still
Right.
blows my mind. She decided to hike the length of California and Oregon on the
Yeah.
PCT, Pacific Crest Trail. And I was so struck reading her story by how nature was just such a healing force when life seemed to kind of hand her no other options.
Right.
And so I felt like the universe was sending me my first sign of kind of that nature was going to play an important part in my story and like rebuilding and healing. And one of my favorite quotes from that book is she says, and she's quoting her mom actually, there's a sunrise and a sunset every day, and you can choose to be there for it. You can put yourself in the way of beauty. So I decided to just take her advice literally and put myself in the way of beauty
I
every
love
day
that.
to
Yeah,
see
that's a
what would
great.
happen. And at the time, it was winter in Chicago now.
Okay.
And I began
Brutal.
walking, yeah, my second winter in Chicago. And oh, yeah, Southern California girl. So I just began walking every day in the winter, in the snow, blizzards sometimes, like, because I just was like committed. I'm just going to
Yeah.
walk every day and see
But
what
damn,
nature has for me.
I bet nothing makes you feel more alive than walking out in the
Oh my
freezing
gosh.
cold
I will say
Chicago winter.
I miss it so much actually
Yeah.
because,
I
like, it
love
wasn't,
that feeling of like the stinging on your face. You're just
oh,
like, oh, it's so good.
and like you're cold on your face, but you're warm everywhere else if you
Mhm.
like just layer appropriately.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, you're like burning more calories too, I guess, like by moving your body like to keep
Bonus.
warm. I know, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. So, and then the goal wasn't fitness, the goal wasn't, walk so many miles a day, but I just like
Ah,
really began to observe nature
right.
and take lessons from her and that's when I had some cool experiences like your friend with his bluebird. Like the
Mm,
cardinal became my spirit animal,
okay.
where I just felt like she would pursue me on these walks. And
Okay.
it just, yeah, became a thing. And so I would
I
journal,
love
go back
that.
inside and journal about it. And so, anyways, the more I moved my body outside and nature, and I lived thankfully by, in fact, when I was choosing my apartment in the city of Chicago, I took out Google Maps and just looked for the biggest area of green in the, because it was in the city.
Yeah.
And so I found an apartment a block away from Lincoln Park.
Okay.
And if you aren't familiar with Chicago, it's basically like living right next to Central Park in New York City. It's like
Cool.
you're in a city, but you're right next to like the one patch of like pretty, it's like miles and miles of green, and it
Love
felt
it.
like a little forest inside Lincoln Park. So that was my little became my sanctuary. And then when spring came, or early summer in Chicago, because it's still really cold, I started experimenting more with hikes in local nature preserves, which are all over Illinois, and I just
Was
fell in
this
love with
like
those.
2021?
So we're in, yeah, 2021 right now.
Okay. Okay.
So then, as I started hiking, then it was like I started dreaming on those hikes. Like I
Yeah.
was going on day hikes at this point. I started daydreaming about backpacking, just like
Yeah.
Cheryl, and maybe one day hiking the same sections of the PCT. And
Right.
so that, I guess that first crystallizing that goal for the first time, I realized I had a ton to learn. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the shorts, that wasn't a short story, but that's the short story of how I like what led me to your program was needing
Right.
to know I needed the tools.
Yeah, like you set the goal, like I have written in my notes, like PC you wanted to do the PCT through hike and you started like imagining yourself doing it when your daughter graduates from high
Yes. Yes.
for your
When
last
my
daughter.
last daughter.
Yeah.
So that's
Is
not
that
until
still your goal?
2032. Yep. Well,
Okay.
so I will say that as I started actually like hiking and backpacking,
Yeah.
then it became very real how big that goal was
Sure.
to through hike the PCT. And so as I'll talk about all of them later, the SoCal baddies,
Yeah.
they've all kind of gone with me in the ups and downs of that goal. Like, is that
Yeah.
still Sarah's goal? Because it kind of can change from time to
We go
time.
through
But
different seasons and sometimes, yeah,
yeah.
different things reveal themselves to us. Yeah, I love it.
But I would say right now, today, yes, it's very much still a goal for 2032 to through hike. And to also include Washington, because Cheryl skipped Washington.
Right.
And I learned quickly from reading PCT through hiker memoirs became one of my favorite genres of books, by the way, to read.
Oh, yeah.
I love it when somebody completes a PCT through hike and then writes a book about it. Oh my gosh, it's like
Ah,
the best reading. So I learned quickly that Washington is like one of their favorite sections of the trail. So
love that.
I decided to, yeah, do the whole thing.
Yeah, like a PCT goal, like I think it's so like the I think about it sometimes and I'm like, wow, it would be so aspirational to do that as well. But it's like a like big time commitment. It's like 6 months
Yeah,
of your life. And I think that's the hardest thing for me to ever wrap my mind around.
totally.
But I think the thing that most exciting about a goal like that, and so you're not the only one, there's so many people out there that I talk to, clients, future potential clients, they
Yeah,
have really
I've
big
networked
goals
with a
like
few of
this.
those clients
Yeah,
that want to do PCT.
PCT or the AT or some big through hike. I think one of the coolest things that can come out of that goal is like the stories you'll get to tell in the pursuit of it or even being on it, whether it turns out to be like that's what's so cool. It's like the PCT through hike was this big aspirational goal that kind of like sparked your curiosity to kind of like lean more into like, okay, well, like how could I become this person? And it has just like led you so many more places too. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think it's so great.
It's not even about the end goal anymore. To
No.
me,
And
it's
if
like
you
that's
do
just
it,
the fun
it's going to
part.
be awesome. Like,
Yeah,
but the pursuit of that goal has already in and of itself created like this incredible like story and journey and experiences for you. So I think
absolutely.
definitely setting your sights big is I don't ever see any downside to it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, you're like my role model in setting big, scary goals. So,
Yes, I love to do it. I'm
yeah.
like, don't be afraid of it. We'll fail together. It's fine.
Yep.
Um, so let's see. So that kind of like the big goal, I think, led you to kind of seeking out more resources and like how could I like get prepared for this? I remember you mentioned Lee like being I forget the name of his programs, but he's like
Trailside fitness.
yeah, he's like really focused on
Shout out.
fitness. Shout out to Lee. Like he shouted out us. I want to shout him out.
Yeah.
And he told Sarah, like, hey, if you're like interested in building more of the skills side of things and like really kind of getting confident and self-sufficient out the doors and being connected to a community, you should check out She Dreams of Alpine. And that kind
Yep.
of led you into our world, which led you to joining our Backpacking Badass program in. November of 2023, I think it was. Maybe our
You
Black
nailed
Friday
it.
event,
Black
probably.
Friday, yep. Because he said, I went to him and said, "Hey, I have this goal. It's 9 years away. So
Yeah.
help me plan out, like, what do I do in year nine?
Yeah.
Like this year, what do I do so that I get, can do this goal, but put it into like year chunks." And then
Yeah.
yeah, led me to you. And so he said, follow you on
Yeah.
social media. So I followed you until the day that you opened that next cohort. So
I love it.
yeah.
Ap- Appreciate Lee.
Yeah.
He's great and his programs are great too.
hmm
Um,
He through hiked the PCT, so that's why I was stalking him online because I was
yes,
looking for PCT through hikers.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then after you joined, I think what's really fun too, because this is kind of like relevant to this time of the year. It's like you joined around Black Friday, and we always talk around Black Friday. It's like, okay, like let's start the year with momentum. And you went in December, and I remember you wrote to us like you went on a weekend retreat at the end of December to set some intentions the year ahead, which I know so many people right now, even in January, are still doing that. They're thinking about that. That's why we had been doing this event most recently called the Your Adventure Era Challenge. It's to get people kind of in this intentional place to be imagining what they could step into for the year ahead. So I'm curious, like for you, you did this on your own, but like it's very similar. So what was your intention for having an adventure brainstorming retreat, and like what came up for you in that time?
Yeah, so that was back, like you said, in December 2023, and I just wrapped up my third year in a row doing that kind of routine. And it's goes beyond just adventure planning for
Yeah.
me. It's also something we kind of skip over at the end of the year when we're goal setting for wanting to think about our goals for the coming year. So what I love is it's this, I'm going to give a shout out to Mel Robbins because she
Mm,
started this in 2023. It's this annual planner that you can get, just like, I mean, type Mel Robbins yearly planner in Google and it'll pull up right away. So I printed that out and I took myself to a hotel room, kind of actually with a friend, and I wouldn't have chosen to be locked into a hotel room. So the next year we kind of mixed it up and did more outdoor stuff. But
yeah.
we, the goal was to like sit in a hotel room, work through our Mel Robbins planner, which is why I love it, is you do an annual audit on the year
Right.
that you're wrapping up, kind of like the highs, the lows, what you learned, like
Yeah.
celebrate, reflect. And I love doing that. It's so fun.
Yeah.
You like go through your whole photo album from the year on your phone, you go through your digital or paper calendar, whatever you use, just to kind of review like what all you did and what was good, what was hard. Then you set your goals for the coming year. And
Right.
so that year it just worked, it aligned so perfectly because I had just signed up for your program, like you said, and the new cohort was starting in January. So my retreat kind of where it landed me, and I do like a vision board, also like a collage of vision board every
I
year.
love it.
And it was all about this goal. And it was so simple that year. It was start backpacking in
Yeah.
2024. So I was really in a place at that time where I wanted to reclaim the 4,380 hours I spend each year without my girls because they still go to
Mm,
their dads. And I had spent the first 3.5 years kind of sad and
yeah.
like aimless whenever they go to their dads, watching way too much TV and movies. And so I just, yeah, I was at a place where I was fed up and wanted to like reclaim those hours. So then yeah, your program and the PCT goal, it all kind of just like led to just start backpacking in 2024. So
I love
yeah,
that. Honestly, like I I like hear so many women talking about like that is a big theme for them, like wanting to reclaim space for themselves. It's not necessarily like hours in the same way that you're saying it, though I'm sure some people can relate to your story in that way. But like even just, finding themselves at the end of another year where they have been wanting to get into doing stuff more for them and like more for themselves and more like developing them and their growth when they have been previously so focused on taking care of other people, making sure everybody else is taken care of. So I think a lot of people can relate to that kind of like reclaiming vision.
yeah.
Um, and I think that's really, really powerful that you did that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's very powerful to just experience that. And then you get to watch yourself like go
Right.
after your goals and then you celebrate that at the end of the year. And then it just gives you that momentum to like dream bigger the next year.
And I think like we all like we have these moments too, like again and again and again in different seasons of our life. Cause I can also think back in August. I have been a climber for like over a decade, but I had this moment back in July and August, and I was like, you want to do bigger things in climbing, and it's time to like put your money where your mouth is. It wasn't really money, but it was more like put my hours where I'm saying like I want my intention, and like reclaiming like this goal that I had for myself and putting this goal out there and like actually showing up for it and like actually putting in the time and like doing what I say I wanted to do. Like that was a really powerful intention shift for me. So sometimes we have to have
Mm,
these like different moments, whatever it is, like,
yeah.
you know, reclaiming time for ourselves or like putting ourselves as a priority, like for the things we say we want to in whatever way that looks like. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love that example. Okay. So you got started in the Backpacking Badass program with us in our January cohort, our New Year's enrollment, and you showed up to all the coaching calls. And what I remember is you were talking about like the way you showed up, I think is really interesting. So maybe we'll talk about that in a second. But that was January. And then you went on your very first backpacking trip. So you got to realize your goal like very early on, actually in 2024. The year you got into it. It was about 4 months after. So it was like April
Hmm.
2024. You were leading backpacking trip. And it was also your first backpacking trip. So I think 4 months is an incredible turnaround, especially for being a leader of a backpacking trip, which I think some people can't even wrap their mind around. They're like, oh, like I don't even know how am I going to lead a backpacking trip. So first, before we kind of get into what that backpacking trip was, I would love to know, what do you think helped you get ready and feel prepared for that first trip?
Okay, so your program, Allison, is what made me feel so confident and ready to not only go on my first backpacking trip, but to lead a trip. And
Yeah,
I was so fortunate that the group that I led was three women that I
from the
met
program as
from the
well.
Backpacking Badass program. So that brings so many benefits because, first of all, of our experience level, one of us, can I like shout out names of
Oh,
SoCal
yeah,
baddies?
just do first names in case
Okay,
they
perfect.
didn't want their last name shared.
Yeah, that's fair. So we had Jenny, who was, we called, and I mostly call her this, my backpacking big sister. So she was the one who had experience,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah,
she,
Jenny was with us that year
yes.
she joined us. Yes.
So she was on the trip. And then we had two other gals, Renee and Rebecca, who were
Hmm.
brand new to backpacking. So
Yeah.
there were three of us who were brand new, and then all four of us who had just gone through your program. And so to me, your program makes it so easy, especially with someone like me who has, like, I love to lead, I love to mobilize, I love to plan.
Yeah.
I love, I don't know, just that, all that, like, and then paired with your program, it just made it really easy to like take your program and put it into like, this is what a trip sh like, I feel like you would have been proud because here's the
Oh,
thing.
girl,
You,
I am proud.
I know, but like I wish you could have seen it because it was like we took your trip plan, we made our trip plan.
Yes.
We took your safety plan. We made a safety plan. We I hosted Zoom calls like that
Yes.
I modeled after your group coaching calls. I created, you had said in one, and I don't remember where, like a coaching call, a module, but you had brought up the importance of communication, like with a
Yeah.
team of people you're leading. Like for
Yeah.
so many reasons, it's not just about, oh, let's be good communicators, but the more you communicate, you have a pulse on where people are mentally, where
Right.
people are physically. Are they training?
Yeah.
One of the gals had the great idea. Let's share our Apple Watch activity, like fitness activity
Ooh.
with each other these next few
Yeah.
months. Make sure we're like encouraging each other to train. So basically, I took your program. It's like a textbook, and I just implemented it
Hug and
into planning
play.
this trip.
Hell yeah. And I like one thing I wanted to point out too is that I just think like some people when they think about like doing all the things to get to that first backpacking trip, it can feel really overwhelming, which of course we like try to break it down as simple as possible. But something else that you did that I remember reading from your graduation story is that you told us like you broke it up into like watching 15 to 30 minutes each weekday to work through the modules. So you didn't like have this perfectionist thinking around it, which I think is so important because I think sometimes a lot of people can get stuck in being like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I need to complete module 1 and have
Yeah.
everything figured out in one sitting." And then that's when things can be overwhelming. So maybe you can like talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, again, I will say shout out to Mel Robbins because she gave me the idea. First of all, she's great at helping us to kind of de-es, what's the word? Like make our goals less scary and make them
Yes.
more just like every day I can work on my goal. Even
Bite-sized
this like
pieces.
yeah,
Yeah.
like even if my goal is I want to through hike the PCT in 2032.
Right.
That's like such a big goal.
Yeah.
How do I break that down? And her big encouragement is spend 5 to 15 minutes a day on your biggest goal. That's
Yeah.
it. And here's what happens. I've done this now 3 years. I'm going into my fourth year of doing this is sometimes I'm having so much fun working on that goal. And Allison, your program in 2024, that was my one big goal. I
Yeah.
would spend sometimes 90 to 120 minutes a day on that
Right.
goal
Once you
just
get
because I was
started.
having
Yeah.
so much fun. So,
Yeah.
but I just would give myself just 5 minutes. If like it's too busy of a day or you're sick or you've got other things, other
Yeah.
priorities, just 5 minutes. So you feel like you at least made progress.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. And then just like other things we've talked about it already a little bit in Sarah's story, but I just want to point it out for people who are considering joining us in this New Year's enrollment, like other strategies that really served Sarah that I can see is like breaking it up into manageable pieces, doing the workbooks, like trusting the process, and also just like really being engaged in the community and coaching, I think really helps. So we provide a lot of opportunities for you to like get help when you are stuck. And I think Sarah did such a great job. Whenever something was unclear, she wasn't afraid. This is like just something I remember about you, Sarah. You weren't afraid to ask the stupid questions.
Yeah,
I just don't think
there
there
were
are
a few
any
stupid ones.
there are no stupid questions, but I know people think that. They're like, I should
Yeah,
probably know this. And I'm like,
yeah,
just ask it. Like, I
yeah,
promise you, I have asked the same question at one point in my life. Like,
yeah.
let's do it. So that's great. Okay, let's talk about your very first backpacking trip. Where was it? We talked about a little bit who was with you, but
hmm
where did you guys go? And like were you I said you led it, but like were you kind of the leader of the trip or did I misunderstand that?
No, I mean, I didn't like exert myself as like, hey guys,
Yeah.
I'm your
But you were
leader. But
spearheading the
yes,
adventure. Okay.
yes, absolutely. Like I typed up the trip plans and the safety plans and I
Yeah.
created the group text and I, kept invited them to the Zoom calls and just,
Yeah.
yes, I absolutely led the trip. But when we were there, and I've led several trips since that trip, I never feel like when I'm on the trip, I actually feel like I'm the one who receives the whole
Mhm.
trip. So,
Well, I think any good leader actually does receive
okay,
as well
yeah,
as lead. So,
okay, good. Then I
great.
think I'm doing it right because I think people are like relieved that I love all the admin stuff. I love
Yeah.
all the spreadsheets, which by the way, your two spreadsheets that I will never trip plan without. And I wrote it down. It's the gear spreadsheet,
Okay.
and the meal planner spreadsheet.
Oh, great. I'm glad you
So I love to do a tangent a little bit. So the gear spreadsheet is my favorite because have weighed every item
yeah.
that I take and I keep that on my spreadsheet. And then if I'm ever
Hard
make
work up front, but like once you have it
yeah,
in, then
hard work or like a blast of how to spend
okay,
a
it
day
depends on the
on
person.
your perspective. Okay.
But
Because
then
yeah,
once
that
you have it in, you get to make tweaks and then it makes it very simple.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. Then you're like as you're getting different gear, it's just a great, oh my gosh, I can't recommend that spreadsheet. Yeah, it's the best. And then the meal planner is great because I've kept track of everything I eat on every
Mm,
trip and like
yes.
what's worked and what hasn't and where I need to make tweaks because
Yeah.
digestion can be a challenge for me on those trips,
Yeah,
I'll be
like
honest. So,
a lot of people have a lot of dietary restrictions too.
yeah.
So you kind of just have to play around on like what works with you. I'm the same way too, but I think me and you are same. the same in a lot of ways, Sarah. Like I'm a systems girly. I
Yeah.
love like creating a system so that like my life is easier later. So it
Oh
might
my
like when you're
gosh, totally.
creating them at first, sometimes you're like, wow, this is a little overwhelming. But then every
Yeah.
backpack trip you go on, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna pull these recipes and just make them again. They always work well for me.
Oh
And
my gosh.
yeah.
They're the best. Okay, so the first trip, so this is gonna just a little backstory that when I went on this first trip, I probably already had three backpacking trips on my calendar for 2024. So
Okay, great.
in a way, I was able to kind of see like the purpose of each trip. And the purpose of the first trip, this one that I'm about to talk about, was really which Jenny called a shakedown trip. It
Yeah,
was
I
like
love that.
we were going to be backpacking somewhere with cell service. There was like a toilet at the campsite, which kind of
Yeah.
made it a little bit nice for the first time backpacking ever. And we were able to just, the three of us who were new, really just test like all our gear and really like, how is it hiking with 35 pounds? And because Jenny, Rebecca, and I were going to do a much more difficult trip a couple of months later in San
Mhm.
Gorgonio Wilderness. So, anyway, so just like not any backpacking is backpacking, but this is like it was a very easy like this first trip, 2 day, 1 night trip at if for locals here in California, they'll know Crystal Cove State Park in
Yeah.
Laguna Beach, California, with
I've
like the
actually been
most
there.
amazing views of the Pacific Ocean. Isn't it gorgeous?
I've been bouldering there. I don't know if you know there's bouldering.
Bouldering.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's
No.
very sandy and it's not very good, but I have
Okay.
been
I
there.
bet one of our baddies, Sporty, I bet
Yeah.
she's bouldered there because she
Yeah.
loves running Crystal Cove. Anyways, I love day hiking there. It's like one of my favorite places now to just like go back to and day hike.
I
So
think
that
this
was
is
our
such
trip.
a smart like thing to do, and it's something I always recommend. If you've listened to the podcast, you know I've talked about this with so many people, but like having a shakedown trip, this is especially important if you're going solo, where like just don't freak out your nervous system so much and put so
Yes.
many new things onto your plate at once. Like going backpacking in general is just a lot. Like give
Yeah.
yourself a really positive first experience. And I do this with friends who are new to backpacking too. When I like don't know how they're going to feel and how their nervous system is going to be, I like to take them on very like I know you're going to have a very positive experience with this. Now with
Mm.
my clients, like, sometimes I'll stretch you guys a little bit.
Yeah, no kidding. It sounds like it with those
But,
trips.
I think that's such a smart idea.
Yeah.
So what was it like?
So, well, for one of the gals was training to climb Mount Whitney later that summer. So she asked me if I wanted to meet early and get in some extra hiking that day. So we got to like get there early. It was such a relaxed backpacking trip and really good for my nervous system, apparently,
Uh,
according to what you just said. So we did some day hiking first, and then the other gals met up with us like mid-afternoon. And then the mileage was like 4 or 5 miles to the
yeah,
campsite. Pretty steep climb though. So with, 35, I think some of us had like 49-pound packs
right.
on our group. So it was a little bit of a challenge that
Heavy,
like
yeah.
incline on day one. But then we get there early, with the sun still up, and we get to, eat our dinners together. And it was just like one of the best days of my life, actually.
Oh,
Just like the views and the seeing what we all like brought to eat and just
yeah,
looking at each other's gear and how it was working. And just we had this great spot, and it was a wonderful like first day on the trail with these
yeah.
women. And let's see. Okay, I had hiked with all of them. I was gonna say I've had a lot of trips where I didn't even know the people when we meet at the
Yes,
trailhead, but I did have like some hiking with all three of these ladies. So it was just really fun
that's so
experience for a
nice.
first trip.
And did you like walk away from that experience knowing, like feeling very confident going forward into your future trips that you had on the calendar? Or like, did you learn like a lot of lessons, a little bit of both?
Yeah, I would say a little bit of both. I had my, cell phone on the notes app. I was taking notes of everything I was learning about my
Yeah.
gear. One of my big lessons was like I did try your advice to not take a pillow and do
Mm.
the like stuffing
Not
things. And
everyone loves it.
yeah, but it was like totally okay because it's a one night shakedown trip. So it wasn't a big deal, but I learned quickly like I need a pillow. I had a lot of digestion issues on that trip, so I, was really trying to dial that in. I really didn't want to have those issues on my 3-day trip in San
Yeah.
Gorgonio Wilderness, which was the next trip. So it was just, I love to learn. So I was just taking tons of notes on all the things I was learning about myself, my gear, even like probably was journaling like moments that I was feeling really, on top of the world, kind of just like what that felt like.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I just wanted to kind of capture it all and improve and optimize for the next
Right.
trip.
And I'm honestly still like that. Like I've been, backpacking for over 12 years now. And even on this like most recent one I went in the Grand Canyon, I wrote like a whole slew of notes as well of like little tweaks here, like fun little ideas that came up. Like this is so random, but I'm just gonna go down that rabbit hole because I've already started. But we were talking about we had a campsite on the Tonto layer of the Grand Canyon, which just provides you this most beautiful, like Sarah, you need to plan a Grand Canyon trip. I'm just
Yeah, your all your podcast episodes on the Grand Canyon,
they're
definitely.
so great. But it provides the most like epic sunsets. And we were like, wow, I would have carried the extra weight to have like a charcuterie board and like a small glass of wine for this moment. And so next
Wow,
time we like have written in our notes that
that's
our next
awesome.
trip that we might theme each night and like do like something
Oh my gosh.
really like who would carry that extra weight for the Grand Canyon? But like it's just such a beautiful place.
I
So
love that. Oh my gosh.
so fun
That's
things can come out of these like takeaways
totally.
that
Oh my
you're going
gosh,
on each
totally.
time. So I love it. Okay. So did anything, oh, I was looking at my notes. Did your friends have any experience? Oh yeah, we talked about that. If
Yeah.
you're the people that you went with had any experience. So what shifted for you, like, and how you saw yourself after that first trip?
It was like this for me amazing shift of like, wait, I want to backpack and now I did
I am a
backpack. Like I
backpacker.
am a backpacker. Yeah. And that's become so pivotal in the last couple of years, like with
Yeah.
other goals I've chased. Yeah, to actually cross over from like this is just conceptual. This is like something I watch Reese Witherspoon do when I watch
Yeah.
the movie every 6 months. Like it's something that they do on backpacker radio. But it's like, oh, now I am a backpacker. So, and I loved it. And it was one
And
of the
I
best days
led
of my,
it,
yeah,
which is like
well,
another like identity transformation too.
hmm,
Like, I mean, don't discredit yourself. Like, I know you
okay.
had some other people in there like that
Yeah.
had some experience, but you showed up, you did the trip plan, you did the safety plan. Like, that's a big identity shift as well.
Well, thank you for calling that out. I would say too that I learned if there's ever a way, and I've learned this on leading other trips, if anyone out there like hires people to lead backpacking trips,
Mhm.
I would definitely sign up to be
Yeah.
paid to lead trips because it is like it's just a mix of like all the things I love. So
Yeah.
planning and leading, like being responsible, but not like feeling like you're the one that is like, I don't know, like again, like I like to receive so much on those trips. Like I feel like I have
Yeah.
so much to learn. So I don't go into it wanting to be in charge. It's more just like I want to
Right.
mobilize this experience for people. So
Exactly. You want to cure, like, I think leadership is all around like helping, facilitating, and curating an experience for people. And then you have to kind of like a little bit, you go in as prepared as possible, and then you have to
yeah,
release control a little bit because
totally.
group dynamics are always different. And you never know what pivots you're going to have to make. And that's what makes a group leader is just somebody
Mm,
who's willing to like not be so rigid.
mm,
But like, yeah, go with the flow.
yeah,
Yeah, I love it.
thank
Okay.
you.
So your first backpacking trip was a group trip you led, and from how you've showed up in our community, it's been really clear since the first day, like I got to know you, that connecting with other adventurous women has been super important to you and important part of your journey. And everyone's different. Like some people join the program, like People by this time might have heard Sherry's story. Her big MO for joining the program was to do more things solo. That was like what drove her. She really wanted to feel confident going solo. But like some people, it is to build out that adventurous community, and that is what's important to them. So I want to talk to you more about this because one of the main challenges that I hear again and again and again is that I don't have anyone to go with. I don't have a friend group that likes to do this. I don't have family who likes to do this. And in the Your Adventure Era Challenge, which we just wrapped up, on day 3, we talked about, how to build your adventurous community and giving some tips around that. But I think you really kind of leaned into it. It sounds like you didn't have anyone in your current sphere that was into backpacking, at least. It's not, maybe your family was at the time, but I don't know if they were backpacking. And you used the Backpacking Badass program to kind of find your adventurous community. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that, in the kind of transformation I went through between like 2020 to 2023, but it was by that point when I was asking Lee about your program that I didn't have people to really do like cool hikes with, let alone backpacking with. So that was part of it, but I think the what drew me to your program first was like I have so much to learn.
Hmm.
But then as I'm stepping into it, I'm like, I also don't want to do this alone. I've been doing a
Yeah.
lot of things alone the last like 4 years. So
Yeah.
when I pictured myself getting into hiking and backpacking, like I'm a very big like manifester, visualizer, and I just was seeing very clearly like I was doing this with other like-minded women, maybe
Yeah.
men someday, but like I was like women. Um, and so, first of all, like, I want to give a shout out to all the SoCal baddies that are going to hear this episode because they have just made the last 2 years of my life like the richest 2 years of my life. And
Mm,
it's
that.
like because of you and what you've created and your program, like, it's just opened up like so much for me. And so, at the beginning, when I joined in January a couple years ago, I just, was very intentional about I don't have those friendships right now, but I'm going to believe they exist and I'm going to believe that they're out there.
Yes.
And right away, and I forget the context of like where you mention it in the program, but you encourage us early on in the program to like introduce yourself on Facebook, which I'm not a big Facebook girl. So
Yeah.
it was like, a little bit out of my comfort zone, but you're like, introduce yourself on Facebook and let yourself like be known as to like where you live, like so that you can hopefully
If you
connect
want
with,
to. Yeah.
yeah, if you want to. And I was
Yeah.
just like, no, like because I'm going to find these SoCal people,
Right.
like I'm going to be very intentional. So when I posted, oh wow. So I looked it all up, like the timeline. I don't remember when our first like cohort call was, but I
It
had
was
started
probably
the
the end of January or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy. So January 1st, I hit the ground running with my 5 to 15 minutes a day of
Yeah.
start backpacking Allison's program. So on January 3rd, I must have heard within, 2 days, introduce yourself on Facebook. So on January 3rd, I made an introduction, was very clear about where I lived, what my
Yeah.
goals were, and that I looked back at that preparing for this episode, and it
Oh,
was just like every single woman that commented I mean, I have goosebumps. Like, there are women that I call friends today
yeah.
now.
That's
And even
amazing.
like some of the gals that don't live in SoCal that commented, like, became an important part of my journey.
Yeah.
And so by January 27th, I was hiking with two of them. So
I love that.
yeah,
I think like this just is another testament. I said this earlier, but like something that I saw in you, and this just fits very well with you saying you're a manifester. But like sometimes people think manifesting means just thinking things are going to happen, but you like go after what you want and are very like not aggressive, but like you're like, no, I see this happening and I'm going to show up as much as I can to like make it happen,
yeah,
and be a very, and you did that with your intro post. And then you would show up like with a vulnerability that I think allows people to connect with you really
mhm,
easily. And then also you would always put out these invitations
yeah,
to people. So when you were planning, And for people who don't know what SoCal is, it's just
Oh
a
yeah, that's a
shorthand
good
for
point.
Southern
If you're in
California.
Pennsylvania right now, you're a little lost. Okay, thanks,
Yeah,
Allison.
Southern California. So it's just like we have women in the program all over the world, honestly, but a large amount in the US and a large amount in Canada. And then we have like a very active group in California and all over at this point. But where was I going with that? Oh, so you put out like in the Facebook group community that you were planning your first backpacking trip and that's how you connected with people, or remind me how that happened.
Yeah. So it really, yeah, I mean, in my intro post, I'm talking about, hey, I'm brainstorming like
Yeah.
where to go on my first trip. And honestly, the trip plan was never to involve like other SoCal badasses at that point
Yeah.
or any backpacking badasses. It was just me like, in the program, you
You're
encourage
just
us to
following the
pick,
steps. Yeah.
yeah, that's I'm a rule follower. So you encourage us to like pick the trip, pick the
Yeah.
trail. And I was like, I don't even know how to pick a trail,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that all these Southern California residents in this program will have trail ideas. And then even those outside of California had trail ideas. So at that point, it became a game of just stalking. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, Carrie just said, hey, I live in San Diego, blah, 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 blah. Renee just said, oh, I live in Ontario. And I just started kind of like
Mentally
collecting.
making note of like potential friendships.
Well, yeah, but not just mentally. It was like, okay, I'm sending them a message
Oh,
and
yeah.
asking for their phone number, and we're going to plan a hike. And then it seriously just snowballed from there because of how much I believe in like the power of manifesting. It was
Mhm.
like they were all there. There were even people commenting on my posts that I didn't even meet until like a year after. Like they commented but I knew they were all there. So it's just a matter of like mobilizing all of them,
Yeah.
following up with them individually on a cell phone, on a text. Let's get off social media
Yeah.
and then let's get on the trail. So,
Yeah.
and then it just snowballed into like lots of day hikes in that year and this last year. So now 2 years of day hikes, summiting mountains, backpacking trips. And most of those experiences were posted on the large Facebook group to like be inclusive and like
Right.
not
Yeah.
just
You
become this like
continue,
group.
yeah, you continue to like open it up to people, which I think has been so amazing of you guys to do as well. And like that's always available to people, like connecting with people in how whatever way that you want. I think that as adults sometimes we can be a little bit shy sometimes to like make that first move and worry, but like I think one nice thing about the program is like most people there, like they want to connect and they want to make those kind of friendships. So
Yeah.
I love that you did that. um okay, let's see. So you entered your backpacking era in 2024. Did you end up doing all three trips or did you do more?
So in 2020, okay, so I had to take notes here. I did, I've done, I had to make a list here. So my backpacking resume is not super like, oh my gosh, that's so impressive. Like I was listening to your
Girl,
call with
you're
another
impressive.
badass and she had done like 36 or something
Well,
in two
I
years.
think,
And
okay, yeah, but that's an exception. I mean,
yeah,
I don't even do 36 in 2 years. So,
yeah,
like,
that's
everybody
crazy.
has their own journey and, like,
Yeah,
what backpacking looks like for them, which I think it's so important for us to have different examples of that.
yeah. And I'm, without my girls, a lot of the time, but at the same time, like it's like my weekends are split in half. Like I
Yeah,
get them back half the weekend. And then uh, the first year I started backpacking, I ended up having them for like full time, like full custody for
yeah,
about 4 months of that year and had to kind of pivot. So I backpack whenever I can. It kind of evens out to about 2 trips a year. So I've done 5 total. And
yeah.
I did 2 in 2025. So that means I did three. Yeah, those three. Yeah, you nailed it. So,
Oh, nice. So you did three in 2024 and you did two in 2025.
yes.
Um, how have they like, are you just like, how are you choosing your backpacking trips now at this point?
Yeah. So that's such a great question because the first 2 years I didn't even have to like think about it or
Yeah.
plan anything. It was like like I think a field of dreams, build it and they will come. Like I just like built this community and then they did kind of
Oh,
what
yes.
I don't enjoy doing. I don't want to go hunt for trails. I still to this day it's like not one of my favorites. I'll keep
You
like
want
a
to be
bucket
told what's
list, but
great. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like, okay, yeah, you want to through hike the Trans Catalina Trail, Jenny? Yeah, yeah, let's do it. Like so I said yes to all the adventures I was invited on and they
Okay, wait, this is a great point because I think like okay, you've done this in a beautiful way, but like another just reason to become somebody who trusts herself, who self-sufficient, who can do all the things is it actually makes it so much easier to say yes when you get invited on future trips to know like you can show up to those experiences and hold your own weight and like and show up really fully to being a contributor to those experiences. So I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like a couple of these trips, I did technically lead them
Hmm.
again by like doing all the admin stuff and the spreadsheets that like people are like, "Oh, thank you so much." And that's the thing when you are in community, like you just like feed off each other's giftedness. And
Hmm.
so like one of the gals that I go on a lot of trips with, like she's really great at securing permits and like has like a knack for planning trails. And so
Yeah.
that's like a great person to partner up with, like, because I don't enjoy getting up at 6 a.m. on recreation.gov. Like, so, but
Surprises me actually.
really, no, I
Yeah,
just,
with all of your organization.
I maybe it's like, it's the stress of like competing for a permit. Like,
Mm,
I just want it to be easy. And I
yeah.
actually prefer when somebody gets all the
You
permits
just get
and
them in a different way. Like you manifest your trips in a different way. You just
I
don't.
do.
I do
Yeah.
it with the 6 a.m. crowd and you just do it with the invite. I love it.
No, yeah. And but that like the last years has led me to now 2026 where I'm like, okay, my word for this year is expansion.
Yeah.
And I think that means, or I know what I'm leaning towards and planning is like I am going to go on my first solo backpacking trip. Like it's time.
Oh, I'm
So that's
so
going to be like
curious.
me doing all the things, like getting up early and getting the permit and doing it all. Like, because I kind of want to experience, or I really want to experience what is it like to fully plan a trip just for me, show
Yeah.
up like the way you talk on your podcast about your solo trips and your guests when they talk about them. It's just like it's something that I'm actually have missed out on not going after. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm headed. But I also want to expand like what we do in 2026 as a SoCal chapter. So
Okay, this is a great segue. So you mentioned to me that your word for 2025 was reinvention, and so your word for 2026 is expansion. Before we get more into 2026, tell me a little bit more about the reinvention piece of 2025. Like, can you expand on like what that meant for you last year?
yeah. So getting to the end of 2024, which was such a powerful year of starting to backpack, um, I I don't know, I just really got into a place in my life where I realized that I was, because honestly of the women that I had surrounded myself with in 2024, I felt ready and brave enough to go after a goal that I had put off since probably I
Mhm.
was about 20.
Okay.
I've had like a lifelong goal of running a marathon.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I saw
I
myself like
remember.
I visualized myself like absolutely like it was real. I saw myself cross the finish line of a
Yeah.
marathon when I went to my inpatient treatment program. And so I knew that that was a part of my destiny. Like it wasn't a choice, it already happened. And
Hmm.
so I just need to partner like with the universe and decide like okay, it's time like to pursue this goal. So at the end of 2024, I felt like really ready for that, to embrace that.
Yeah.
And I had seen like women that I surrounded myself with like run marathons and the
Oh, yeah.
mountains. And I
Yeah.
just like,
Angelique's
okay,
such a huge runner.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I can do this. So by the way, first I had to start running. I wasn't a runner. So
Yeah.
that was, so
I can relate to that, honestly. I had a moment where a half marathon was on my list and I was like, I'm not a runner. So, yeah.
so that's where the word became very intentional. So reinvention felt like the next step because I wasn't a runner yet. I
Yeah.
wanted to reinvent myself as a runner. I wanted to reinvent myself as a person who not just like runs a marathon. I wanted to reinvent myself as a person who crosses the finish lines of
Yeah.
marathons, plural. And really, at a high level, I wanted to prove to myself that I could do anything that I set my mind
Ah,
on achieving. So
love that.
and then it manifested like really beautifully. I competed in 6 races last year.
Six
Um,
marathons.
so not 6 marathons,
Oh,
but
I was
six.
about, my jaw was on the floor. I was
Oh,
like, Sarah,
no,
holy
no.
shit.
I'm hoping for 2 this year, but no, 6 races. So I did my first 10K. I like
Okay.
built up, like I did a
Yeah,
5K, which I
yeah.
had done before, and I did my first 10K half marathon and then marathon. And then the marathon, so everyone says like it's so hard. Lots of people who run it say when that day they're like, I'm never doing that again. Like I just heard
Ah,
that narrative so many times, but it turned out to be the greatest day of my life,
love
actually.
that.
So I
And
learned,
you had some SoCal like backpacking badass
yeah,
friendships show up with signs. This is why I remember it because y'all posted about it in the
yeah.
community. I
No,
love.
it's so the women that I had spent the most time with over 2024, 2025, like they had shown up for me like throughout the year, just cheering me on in the goal. Every time we'd hike together, they, want to know the updates on how training
Yeah.
was going. And then, yeah, one of them, Christina, came to cheer me on, which is like it's like a big deal because it's a very difficult, it was a Long Beach marathon, and it's a very difficult race to like what do you call like when people come and show up and support you? They're like
Oh
called
yeah.
something. What are they?
Be a supporter or
Yeah, I
be a
mean
like,
supporters.
yeah, I don't know
Like
the
it's
technical term, but
it's a challenging race for supporters to like
oh, be there.
logistically like
Oh,
parking, and it was really hot, and
yeah.
like my family like complained like at how challenging the day was for them. I'm like, yeah, shut up. Like I just ran 26 miles. But anyway, so it just meant so much to me that she was so intentional to make the effort to support me. And right when I saw her and her sign, like I just broke down crying. It was really
Oh
a,
my
a beautiful
gosh.
moment. And then we got to backpack together a month later.
I
So
love
yeah,
that so much. That's
yeah.
awesome. And you said you're doing more of those in 2026?
Yes. So it's definitely more, I'd like running to kind of just be the background this year. Like I
Yeah.
still want to do it, but last year running my first marathon very much like was the
It's a
focus
very
of my
time
year.
consuming. Yeah, it can
Yeah.
be pretty time consuming.
So this year for running, as far as running, I'm gonna do a half marathon in a couple weeks and then a full marathon May 3rd. And then I'm crossing my fingers to maybe do New York City Marathon in
Ooh,
November. But
so
that's
fun.
definitely a bucket list marathon that I have to do someday. So,
I love it.
yeah.
So good. Okay. Um, Beyond like before we kind of like I want to wrap up more talking about your 2026, but before we get there, I would love to hear a little bit more on like outside of the running and outside the backpacking, like what other ripple effect that you've noticed from really kind of stepping into your own adventure era, becoming a self-sufficient backpacker, like starting to shift your kind of self-concept a little bit, like how has that impacted your life in other ways?
Oh my gosh. I would say the ripple effect is like just huge for me. And like your program, as I was preparing for this episode, I was just reflecting on how like your program truly has changed my life and this community has just changed my life. And I would not have run that marathon last year if it wasn't for
Yeah.
your program. And I know running has like it's not even like outdoors, and I ran a lot of like road races, but like there's just things that I went after in my life because now I felt empowered and
Okay.
free and like safe to
Yeah.
pursue like whatever the hell I want to pursue. I would say another ripple effect is that, after my divorce in 2020, I remember saying that year, like, of course, somebody asked, like, are you planning to get remarried?
Mm.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm 39, I think I was at the time, or it sounds like I think I was younger, but I was in my late 30s. And I'm like, of course, like, I'm in my late 30s. Like, this, like, kind of sucked. Like, this whole marriage experience sucked. Like, I want to do over. Like, yes, of
Mm.
course, I'll get remarried. And so that kind of was my focus for several years after, was just like, okay, like I've got to find my partner. Like I
Right.
was like that didn't go well the first time. Like it was kind of a disaster. Like where's my partner? And like the more that I like dig into this kind of stuff the last few years and just go after these like big scary adventure goals and like surround myself with these like amazing fierce women, I just like kind of care less and less. Like I feel so whole and so complete and so unstoppable that
Yeah.
like nothing is missing at this point.
I I feel like that is the honestly best place to be at if you're ever going to enter a future relationship is like not feeling like you need to be in a place where somebody else is completing you, because you have the wholeness like
Yeah.
through all the other things that you're doing. So whether that ends up being your path or not, like I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, 2026, Sarah's adventure era. We have talked a little bit about it. The main theme is expansion. We're talking solo backpacking. We're talking more um marathons and running, continuing running. Is there anything else? Anything that you're hoping to bring into 2026?
Yeah, so I had this I finally climbed this pretty famous mountain in Southern California this last year in 2025 called Mount Baldy.
Oh yeah.
It was a real like a big bucket list climb for me
It's a
because
beautiful climb.
oh my gosh. I wasn't
Yeah.
even expecting it to be beautiful.
Yeah,
I
it's
think I
really
was just,
breathtaking.
yeah, I was just expecting like, or it was bucket list for me because it was just the most common mountain that people seem to like want to climb in the area. And here I am like hiking and backpacking and I hadn't
It's challenging. It's
experienced
like
it.
4 or 5,000 feet of gain. I remember
Yeah,
that. Yeah, like it's
definitely challenging. And then I don't know what, maybe now as a new runner, as I was hiking it, I really had this like feeling like I need to come back on my, because I did it with SoCal baddies.
Patty.
One that I had never met before. And I want to tangent back to that in a second, actually, to
Okay.
like not meeting people before actually doing adventures with them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk
Um,
about that.
so when I was on Baldy, there were some trail runners, and I just was like, I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna attempt to trail run. Not like
Yeah.
to prove that I can run to the top or like,
But
can
like it
I?
just sounds fun to you. Like, why
Yes,
not?
exactly. I was just like,
Yeah.
dude, next time, because I used to hike in like, restrictive hiking shoes that you couldn't run in. It's like next time I'm bringing my trail runners and
Yeah.
just my hydration vest and maybe no trekking poles, like, and just kind of like go for it. So I think that's gonna be on I'm still like, I'm with you. I like to spend January with my adventure goals still kind of
Yeah.
like I like to,
Percolating in them.
yeah, percolate. That's such a good word. Because I feel like those goals like take me longer to like really,
Yeah.
and it's January, like it's not the best time. You can't even go into the mountains right now. So it's just
I
like a
mean,
good time for me to like simmer.
I
But
love to be super fluid. It's like so great to like set some things in January, but then also be like, I'm open and available to whatever unfolds, like,
yeah,
throughout this year and how it
for
unfolds.
sure.
Yeah.
And then of course, non-negotiable, what's on the agenda for 2026 is our SoCal group, like this is our second year in a row doing a January Zoom call and we'll, dream together. So we get out like a spreadsheet that we share and we just start typing away and dream up trips and hikes together. And most of those like crystallized last year. So it was fun to see that kind of the planning in action. And now
Yeah.
like, so I'd like to kind of like, yeah, as we invite more people, because people are joining your program so often that we have
Yeah.
constant like newcomers coming in. So I'm excited to see what that looks
Oh,
like.
so fun. Okay, well, tell me more about the tangent you wanted to talk
Yes.
about. It was friends. Oh, friends you have
Yep.
never met before.
Yep. Okay. So okay, I'm gonna actually look for
So yeah, like
my
background wise,
answer.
I know Sarah was talking about in some of her stories, like some of the backpacking trips she's been on, she has gone backpacking with people that she met in the community but had never met in real life on before their first trip. So I think that is like an interesting thing to talk about, like what that experience is like for you.
Yeah. So thank you for teeing that up. So I wanted to just say that it's been such a fun experience the last couple years. Um, being brave and saying, okay, I want to meet new people. And what that's going to take is like, the way we meet is not let's meet at a bar and have happy hour. Like the
Right.
things we want to do together are hikes, climb mountains, and backpack, and sometimes, boulder inside a gym, a rock climbing
Yeah.
gym. So it's going to look like meeting people for the first time, at the trailhead and
Right.
sometimes in the pitch black of a trailhead. And
Hmm.
you're about to spend it. So I'm just like trying to get you all that are listening to picture this if you haven't done this before. Like driving to a trailhead,
You're like,
sometimes
I'm
for,
meeting this person from a
yeah,
stranger on the internet.
yeah, for like a 3-day trip in the Sierras,
Right.
or like we're gonna spend the day climbing Mount Baldy. Like it's just like thrilling. Like I find
Yeah.
it thrilling. Like it's so now that I've done this over 2 years, like met so many women this way. So I've started marveling with some of the key like women that like show up like repeatedly like to these same adventures. So we're kind of all gathering the same data as each other.
Yeah.
But like we just have, I've marveled with them. Like, guys, like the women that just show up on these adventures are all awesome. Like they are all stellar human beings. Like we don't talk politics, so I'm sure we don't all align. We don't talk about like religion a whole lot. Like we just are like our authentic selves, like loving the outdoors.
Yeah.
And it has worked out every single time. Like there has not been one horror story. And so what I marvel at is like, Allison, the kind of women that you attract into your program, because it's all the women we meet are from your
Yeah.
program. It's not just like strangers on the internet. I mean, they are strangers, but they're women we meet through your program. And the type of women you attract are just special. And these women keep bringing like magic into my life. And so I keep kind of like waiting for that like experience that's like a horror story or like that wasn't really fun, like, or that person complained all day, like,
Yeah.
but it just in 2 years, it hasn't happened. Like I have
Yeah.
just grown to adore and love every woman that I've met on those trails. So thank
Yeah.
you for that,
I
that
I
gift.
appreciate that shout out. And it's something like also our team has marveled at too, just like the energy inside of the Facebook community as well. We just notice like it just and maybe this is just the way we show up. It's just I think the people that want to learn this stuff and join their program, they're like in it for the right reasons.
Yeah,
Like they're there to like get outdoors, feel confident in themselves, like meet other people, like so I just am I'm super happy that it's turned
yeah,
out that way too because we do live in a world where it's like easy to be like with complainers all the time
yeah,
and like yeah. So
yeah.
I appreciate that. And you're like one of those people that like adds to that environment.
Mm,
So much of that is built up by the continuation of the community that's already there and
yeah.
continues to grow. So I think that's a super important part of it too. But I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And what's so cool is like none of us, I don't believe, like have like do our day-to-day lives together. Like
Yeah.
that it's like just this special sacred thing. Like when we meet on the trails, we pick up where we left off
Right.
and we support each other in our like day-to-day lives on the trails. But then when
Yeah.
we come home, it's not like a these are my friends in my life. It's just
Right.
these are my adventure buddies. And yeah, it's just I just
It's
am so grateful that I have
so
them.
special to
So
have people like that in your life too. I think about like some of my friends are like that too. It's just like literally the reason we connect is over adventures. Like, Meg, she's been on the podcast a few times. She's definitely one of those. Like, I mean, we hang out occasionally on random things, but like usually it's like, hey, do you want to go to the desert with me? And I'm like, I'm in. Like, let's
yeah,
go.
I
Like
know.
that's
It's
where
the
we
people you say
reconnect and
yes
kick
to
off.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah. Exactly.
absolutely.
All right. Are you ready to maybe transition into sort of wrapping this episode up? I want to do some like fun rapid fire questions. I think that's just a like unique way for people to get to know you a little bit better. And then we'll do some closing thoughts. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Great. All right, Sarah, what is your go-to trail snack?
So I am obsessed with sweetened mango and smoky almonds, like the
Oh,
mix.
oh,
Or I
combined.
mean like I combine them myself. Yeah.
Nice. Sherry actually just said she like dried mangoes from Trader
Yeah.
Joe's.
Yes,
specifically.
yes, sorry, it is dried.
Okay.
Yes, it's the sweetened, like, but like dried mango, like strips from Trader Joe's.
Yes.
Exactly.
You need to
But
guys
then
have a club about that because I think there's a
yeah,
certain group of people that just like love the dried mangoes from Trader Joe's. Like people always shout that out. Like it's
okay.
so
I mean,
funny.
so they have two versions. The one that's unsweetened, it's okay. Like, I
Yeah.
love the sweetened because, you need the extra
Yeah, the little
support out
sugar.
there.
Yeah. And smoky almonds.
Yeah, so it's like smokehouse almonds, and I think the flavor is like just like smoky, but I could
Ooh.
go with like even the wasabi or like
Oh
I
yeah.
just going down
I've
that whole
gotten
flavored almond thing.
I've gotten really, yeah, like my friend last year, my climbing partner has introduced me to salt and vinegar almonds,
Oh,
and those
oh
are
my
so,
gosh.
yeah,
Those will be my next ones then,
they're
because
very
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite piece of gear that you can't live without?
Okay, so this is in honor of your tip to go without a
Oh
pillow,
my
my
gosh,
first
I
backpacking trip.
actually was just thinking to myself, I'm gonna die laughing if she says it's her pillow.
Yeah, but then here's the funny part. So, okay, so my favorite piece of gear is the Thermarest compressible pillow.
Okay,
And so, like I said, I tried to go without a pillow first trip. That was impossible. So then that went on my notes, like
right.
reevaluate, Sarah. So I
I am
did,
not this person who goes without pillow. I need to find
but
one.
I'm like I forget the nickname I would get. Um, Something like with like my spreadsheet with my weight and like the word bitch, like some nickname in there where because I'm very like all about like weight, like pack
Okay,
weight, like keeping it
yeah,
down as much as possible. So my next pivot was like the really lightweight, like
the like
inflatable
blow up
pillow.
ones, yeah,
Yeah,
those are not very
that
comfortable.
was a joke. So
Yeah.
no. So I'm never going back now after
So tell the
the
people again the specific name of
yes.
the one you like. Thermarest.
Therma Rest compressible pillow. And I will say, pay attention though to the size because I accidentally ordered like too large a size at first.
Mhm.
So just kind of, get out a tape measure and really make sure it's the right size that you want to take in your pack and put it in
Yeah.
your spreadsheet. Make sure it's the weight you want. But
What
yeah,
size do you have? Do you know?
I
It's
forgot
okay.
actually. I
Okay.
could look it up, but
All right. The
I
people can
forgot the
do the
size.
research. I
But
can
I did
already
get
see
too
like
large of
a
one.
lot of people going straight to being like, because this is
And
a
so,
common
and I
question.
got my Thermarest. I did price shop around. The Steep and Cheap, where
Oh yeah,
you recommend
they have
for
great
clients
deals.
to go,
Yeah.
they have a great deal on it still,
Mhm.
because I just looked it up to
Oh,
confirm.
amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. That's so funny. I'm like dying. That's great. And just for the
I tried,
record,
Allison.
I only give it as an option if you want lighter weight. You
Oh,
can
I'm
go
all about the
without
lightweight.
pillows.
Here's the thing. I'm
But
glad I tried it because to me, like, weight is my biggest priority. So I've tried everything ultralight and then I add weight as I want to
right,
like, improve the
exactly.
gear piece or whatever, the
Well, and I'll
system.
tell you, Sarah, like I'm actually like as I'm getting older, I'm like starting to want more creature comforts like that. And so you may find me turning into a pillow
Yeah, yeah,
sooner than later, okay?
yeah.
Because every time I do these things, I do like how I did it so minimal in my 20s, and I'm in my late 30s now, and I'm like, I don't know if I can like keep doing it this way.
Yeah.
So, okay. If you could go on a week-long backpacking trip with anyone, alive or dead, who would you want to go with?
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, apart from you, Allison, I would say that is easy for me. It's Cheryl Strayed.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, no, I want to get that woman. This sounds like so weird to say, but like her and I on the trails together, just like commiserating on how nature healed both of us
Love
and
that.
put us back together. And I'm a writer also, so we would probably have a lot to talk about there
Mm.
as well. And also, just shout out to her. I named my backpack Cheryl, so in her
Aw.
honor. So
Well, if
definitely her.
Cheryl ever in the remote chance ever listens to this podcast, reach out to me. I can connect you to Sarah.
That'd be amazing. I will go up to Oregon and backpack with her up there.
Okay, trail sneakers or hiking boots? We kind of
Yeah, so shoes were a tough one for me the last couple of years, and I actually think running for like being more helping me get more in tune with like what my feet actually need. But I
Mhm.
definitely hiked for a couple years in the wrong shoes. So I won't say what everyone's shoes different. So I'll just say
I think,
where I ended.
yeah, go ahead.
Trail runners all the way for
Yeah,
backpacking and
that's what I love
hiking.
too.
And I'm obsessed with the Topo Terra Venture 4s right now.
Love
And
it. Yeah.
I have wide feet. So I remember on Baldy actually commenting on a guy's shoes, and somehow like we just started like chatting really quickly, and it's like he has wide shoes and said this is the only thing that works for him, and so that's
Mm.
what I went for, and they're the best. So
That's great. I love that. Yeah, this is why like so many people ask like what shoe do you recommend? I'm like it really
yeah,
depends. Like honestly,
it so
every
does.
person has a different preference. You do kind of have to go through a trial and error. I mean, I did, you did. I haven't met anybody who hasn't ever trialed and errored a shoe for a
Yeah.
while.
And that's
So,
why I'd say it's important to like open the purse strings a little bit with shoes and buy them at REI so that you can
oh
return
yeah.
them when they
Yeah,
don't work.
that's a
So,
good
because
tip.
I had to return some shoes to
Yeah,
REI.
smart. Good tip.
Yeah.
All right, last rapid fire question. What is your least favorite backcountry chore?
Okay, so it's very specific to the day of the backpacking trip too. So
Okay.
for me, it's night one of the backpacking trip. My least favorite is setting up my tent, and here's
Mhm.
why. It's like every time I pull that tent out, it's like I completely forgot like how to set up my tent, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
you have to
how
relearn.
does this work? And I'm always grateful. I've always backpacked with friends, and I literally go over, and this is why I'm the receiver on these trips. Can you help me? Like, how am I supposed to start it? Like, I literally feel like a newbie every time, but then night two, and obviously tearing it down the next morning, night two, I'm good to go. So I
Yeah.
think it'll
Oh,
be
I
a good
can't wait
challenge
to.
for me for
Yeah, you're
solo.
solo. I love
Yep.
it. It's
No,
gonna
I'm
be an
excited.
expansion for sure.
Yep.
I hear you though. Like I have backpacked for so long now, but every time that first night, not necessarily with the tent setup, but for me, it's like my organization. I'm like, wait, what are my systems? Because there are certain things, like I'll tell you, when I'm in bear country and I'm using my bear can, I
Uh-huh.
have this like little knife that I use to open my bear can. And if I do not put that knife in the same spot, it's very small. I
Yeah,
will
I know
lose
the
it.
knife.
Yeah, the Trango Piranha
Yeah.
knife. Like, and so I have a system, but my very first night, sometimes I forget and I will put it in the wrong spot. I won't put it in the right stuff sack or I
Yeah.
won't put it in my jacket pocket. And then I'm just like, I'm a mess. I'm like, where is this thing? Where are my
Yeah.
headphones? Like all of these things. So
Yep.
first night, it's always a little bit of like getting back into your groove, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. So, Sarah, before we officially close things up for this interview, which I know has been so valuable for so many people listening to this, I do have one more question. What advice do you have for somebody who wants to start hiking and backpacking and wants to step into their adventure era, but is kind of like in this place where they're a little bit doubting themselves that they can do, or just it feels a little bit overwhelming and unknown?
Yeah. Well, I would say just from personal experience, like the most important part of getting started when you have doubts, uncertainty about especially your capabilities, like begin testing your capabilities. Like go on one big long experiment with yourself and
Yeah.
just begin building your confidence in what you're unsure of. And then just like grow your resume of what you're capable of tackling. And then don't forget to celebrate yourself along the way and all the things that you did that blew yourself away.
Yes.
And honestly, hands down though, like the biggest advice for someone, like tangible advice, is to follow She Dreams of Alpine, join the next backpacking badass cohort that opens, throw yourself headfirst in the program, immerse yourself in the virtual community, create your own local community, and never
Mhm.
look back, except
Yeah.
to celebrate how far you've come along the way.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, Shara. I think
Yeah,
that your story is just a testament of like everything that can be possible when you just like really just believe in yourself and your adventure era, like taking it step by step, building your own community, believing that they're out there. Like
yeah.
that in and of itself, like you built the self concept before you even started taking the action. So I definitely saw that. And
Mm.
I appreciate you so much and sharing your story. Sarah, if anybody would like to connect with you outside of this episode, what is the best place that they could reach you?
Yes, so I don't even know the name. Allison will put it in the show notes, but Facebook and Instagram, but use it to like connect with me, like send me a DM.
Yeah.
Give me your cell. I mean, this sounds like stalkerish, but like, give me your cell phone. Let's connect in the real world. So I'm not really big on keeping a friendship on the internet, on social media for very long. So if you are serious about getting to know me, do some hiking or just chat, even if you're not in the California area, use my social media to like connect with me. But there's nothing impressive on my Instagram. There's no stories or trips really on there. It's just a way for me to connect with other like-minded women.
Love it. Thank you so much, Sarah. This has been an amazing conversation. It's been so great for me also to just like catch up with you and hear what's on your radar for 2026, which I'm super excited about. And I'm really happy selfishly that I get to like hear more about that with you inside of the Backpacking Badass program. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Allison, for starting my year this way. It's been such a joy to connect with you.
Yes. All right, everyone. That is it for today's episode, and we will talk to you next time. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at support@shedreamsofalpine.com or find Sarah's information in the show notes. And I look forward to talking to you next week. Bye. Hey, I wanted to thank you real quick for tuning into the show and listening all the way to the end. If you love this episode and you want deeper support in becoming a safe, confident, and self-sufficient hiker and backpacker, then head over to shedreamsofalpine.com/waitlist to learn more about our Backpacking Badass coaching program, where I teach you absolutely everything you need to know to be self-reliant on the trails and stop waiting around on others for the adventure invite. So I'd love to help you more in your journey of stepping into your adventurous identity, and that program is the absolute best place for us to start working together. So again, that's shedreamsofalpine.com/waitlist, and you can learn all about it there. So that's it for today, folks. I hope you get to spend some time outside this week, and I'll be back very soon with a brand new episode. Bye.